Everyone. This is Ian Coyote for Siofra's Magic Alcove, and I thought I'd go over some stuff today relating to, well, relating to gurus and things. I want to, one of the important things in my life is the search for enlightenment or realization of myself, which I look at. I'm going to make another video on the subject, but I look at it as basically releasing myself from the bondage of my own internal habits, tendencies, and things that got put into me to find the true self that resides within. And that is actually a lot more complicated than it seems, and the result of finding the true self is not as simple as some people think. But we'll tackle that as another entire subject on its own. But first, I decided it was important to take up the issues of teachers and gurus and instructors and things, which, as long as they aren't fraudulent, serve a very valuable and useful place in helping to guide us to a state of what can be termed enlightenment. And to answer the short question, or a question with a short answer, yes, enlightenment works, and anybody can potentially attain it if they desire to, though it may take several lifetimes to do so. But you can start on the path anyway. It's about gurus and teachers and things. Now, my wife and I have a guru, which I have accepted as my guru, but we don't get to travel to him because basically we just don't have the money, and my wife is not quite as interested in the whole guru aspect of thing as I am with the enlightenment stuff. She's more into the Wiccan stuff. But we did receive Shaktipat from a guru in Portland, the Nityananda Institute, and his name was Swami Chaitanananda. And this is a picture of him that I have. I suppose I should have the dust more cleaned off. This is basically my guru. But he's not accessible to me so much because I don't have the money to go visit and such. But we are both pretty much believe he's genuinely enlightened. And Shaktipat is a process whereby the guru, through some method, and there are several methods, gives you a charge of energy, in this case to, since Swami Chaitanananda deals with the Kundalini energy and those aspects. He also has a Tibetan lineage, but I haven't delved into that. But he has a genuine lineage through Swami Muktananda and Swami Nityananda, whom you can look up. And we're not talking all the modern Swami Nityanandas are popping up everywhere. But the original one associated with Kashmir Shaivism and Swami Muktananda, I think, died in like 1947, or he lived up to 1947, something like that. And so his guru was older, well known in the area. Anyway, it's a legitimate lineage is the point. So that brings up a question, and I'm going to turn the volume down here a little bit because I notice I've been redlining. Let's discriminate here first against, or not discriminate, let's, well, be discriminative. Anyway, there are gurus, there are teachers. A teacher addresses mostly the teaching and learning phase. And so if they have proper information and convey that proper information to you, there's not too many requirements to find a good teacher, and you'll generally know when they're not a good teacher and when to leave. Obviously, you don't want to end up with a bad one. How do you know who is a bad teacher or guru to start with? I'm going to make the difference that a guru, between a teacher and a guru. A guru is one that works more on an energetic level with you, not just teaching and instruction, though they usually do that. Pardon my coughing. But they teach you, they can transfer power to you, energy to you. And my feeling is it's hard to be a good guru to thousands and thousands of people. Swami Chaitananda, I do not know how many followers he has. It may be in the thousands. But he's not a big populist figure. He's not making a show of being a guru. He actually is being a guru and making lots of trips to Tibet and what have you. I don't know about now, since he's would be in advanced years at this point. So I don't know if he's still doing that, but my feeling is one way to judge a guru is by the attitudes of their followers. In other words, the fruit of the guru tree or a teacher is going to be their followers and students and how they act. And there was a guru. Now, this is an example of a guru not to get involved with, in my opinion. There was a guru, and this happened in Oregon, and this guru had followers internationally, still does, still has followers in Oregon, still has followers in Coos Bay, in fact. When it came to light what was going on, what his followers did, it made it real clear the actual results of his teachings and instructions from his dedicated followers. And they lived on a ranch and had an entire community of their own, which was okay. But one day the followers and his chief, what you'd call his chief officer, or probably officer is the wrong word, chief assistant, whatever, secretary, I believe was the term used, and a bunch of his followers, they decided they wanted to take over the town that they were basically near, and they wanted to take over the elections of the town, so they could get all their own people in lead positions. And they researched and found out where all of the town leaders ate lunch in general. And then they went and poisoned with salmonella on purpose. They poisoned all the salad bars and buffets and things where these people ate so that they would all get poisoned and be unable to be available for the elections and for voting and stuff, so that they could take over the town effortlessly without having to do anything else. And they made the attempt, and at the time, and it still may be, at the time it was called the largest single act of bioterrorism in the United States. Okay, that happened in Oregon. And this guru, over all of his vast places, actually had about 93 Rolls Royces. At each place he had an ashram or whatever. Those were mostly not in the U.S., I understand, I guess. But so that any place he went, any ashram he went to, he'd have his Rolls Royce to travel around in. And you would think these things would be signs that people would learn from and that they wouldn't follow this person. Now, it's not that this person didn't say anything theoretically valuable or correct about enlightenment. He did, but this was all words. He didn't live them. He proclaimed them, and like anything, it's not too difficult to understand that something appeals to people and it sounds enlightened, and maybe it even is enlightenment, and you can just spout that off. But the results of his actions were how his followers acted. The results of his teachings were how his followers acted, especially his secretary and those in close contact with him. Those were not the only issues. There were many, many other things. It came to light that his secretary of this guru had an underground bunker where she secretly taped and recorded all the rooms and everything in the whole complex on the ranch. So everything was watched, everything was recorded, everybody was being spied on all the time. These things are simple fact. And there are followers who I have had pissed off at me here in Coos Bay. Pissed off at me for being factual about what happened with this guru. And he still has followers all over the world. And like I say, not just in Coos Bay, not just in Oregon, all over the U.S. And it's clear none of these people ever looked into the practices. My wife and I had actually run across some film, some movies and stuff that were made about this guru and this group. And they documented a bunch of things, including some behaviors of this group in India, that did not happen in the U.S. And the pattern continues more or less the same as it did in the U.S. They had built up caches of guns. Basically, the followers had become local terrorists. And this was recent enough you can still talk to people who were around when it happened. I was living in Oregon when this happened. I recall the events. He got kicked out of the United States for his events here, and yet he still has tons of followers who are unconcerned about any of that, but they still accept him as a guru and teacher. So that's a good warning. Just because a person says things, a lot of these things, these statements of wisdom, can be parroted from books and things. So you have to look to the behaviors and you have to look to the actions of the individual. But that's all I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to be in the same boat as many of the other Westerners in immediately dismissing anything mentioned with the word guru as being fraudulent and money grubbing. That is not the way of the ashram in Portland, the people that I met there. And it has a good purpose to it. Maybe when this video is over, I'll talk more about what actually occurred on that Shaktipat and how that came about. But I wanted to get into what guru worship actually should be for the Western minds to interpret this. And let me dissuade you of the idea that you should be worshiping the individual man or woman who is being the guru, or their personality. And this is one of the big mistakes that can lead to trouble. In India, pardon me again, there are a lot of people who take the guru worship very seriously. Unfortunately, many of them take them seriously to the point of, while you can worship the guru's form, they too much turn that into the worship of the individual and their personality. As one friend and worshiper of Sai Baba said in one of the books about him, that it was very odd and disconcerting to him when he had been accustomed to treating Sai Baba as God incarnate, and God came over to him and asked to borrow his razor, and that kind of like, threw him. So in real guru worship, it's not directly about worship of that person. By worship of a guru, one of the things that can be accomplished is by making meditation on that guru and thoughts, you can contact yourself with their teaching and learning. So first, they have to be good teachers. They have to be good people. You want a good person as your guru. Because using this method, you will draw to yourself a lot of aspects of the guru, and you can potentially draw to yourself any bad personality aspects and traits they may have also, which is of course not what you're after. And in India, they make the assumption that the guru is always perfect. And at the same time, that is and should be an accurate description. And you should try to find as perfect a guru as you can if you're going to worship a guru. And like I say, the advantage is you can pull, if it's the right guru, you can pull through understanding and comprehension of these things. You can get an understanding and comprehension of the mystical states and things your guru has had and connect with those directly. And so it can make your progress much, much faster. The guru can impart to you those ideas and things directly through an abhisheka, those types of things. So that is one advantage of the guru worship, to make that contact. And There's a story about that that kind of gives a good example, which is in one of Swami Muktananda's books, and I don't want to dig it up right now, but basically the idea is that um, a student wanted to become the guru of this well-known, apparently relatively famous in his time period, guru. And this was not in modern times. And turns out the guru, one of the distinct features of this instructor, this person, was they could make a particular shot with an arrow that nobody else in the world could do, and he was the only one that could teach his students to do it. He refused to teach this student because, for whatever reason, he thought he wasn't worthy. So the student didn't take no for an answer, but he did not get taught directly by the instructor. What he did, he made a statue of the guru, considered that the guru himself, actually alive, having the guru's qualities and everything, and literally charged that statue up with the guru. And then that statue taught him all the aspects about the guru and taught him to make that shot with the bow and arrow that nobody else could do, which when the guru heard about it, he was astonished and went to talk to him and ask him how that was possible, how he could learn that, and he basically told the guru what he did. So you can pull these things, absorb them from a true guru, a true master. And it's highly recommended for your progress. However, we have this whole idea of considering the guru as perfect. Let's consider that what is perfect is our perfect ideal of a guru. We want the guru that we choose, of course, to be the ideal of the perfect guru. Now, it is said that if you choose a guru who has really reached the true initiation, the Shaktipat, has become in touch with the one self, that then they're all the same as far as any of them who have really reached that self can transmit that to you, and that's what you want. You should always picture the guru as perfect for two reasons, while also admitting and understanding within yourself that the guru has a human personality and is a human being, and that human being and their personality may not be perfect, and they may make mistakes and errors. By picturing them as the perfect guru and not letting any doubt enter your mind into that, though, you know, I say separate the guru ideal from the person being the guru. Ideally, they can bring that down, they can contact it, they can channel it, but especially unless you really find a good guru, and there are some, but they're not that easily available, they can have imperfections and flaws. So the way to avoid that, like I say, is the perfect guru thing, and you're doing two things by that. What you want to pull into yourself is not human weaknesses that the personality that is the guru may have, but you want to bring into yourself the aspects of that perfect guru. So you can almost picture the guru, and guru worship as being the perfect guru, as that guru, that perfect guru, overshadowing the human guru, and thus making the human guru more perfect. By doing that, you will actually increase the virtue of the human guru. And if the person isn't a charlatan, and that increasing the virtue of a human guru is one of the best ways to reap yourself good karma. Okay? And not only do you do that and help that perfection that a real guru is trying to be, you're also, what you pull into yourself is going to be the aspects of the perfect guru, not the potentially imperfect aspects of the human being. So you make a distinction. The guru you worship is perfect. You're not worshiping the human being, but you're worshiping the person in whom that perfect guru resides, that, that perfect guru overshadows and has contact with, and you can make contact with that through the guru, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make contact with that perfect, ultimate, primordial guru through the guru. So if you keep that in mind, it means you're only bringing perfect aspects into yourself. However, only as far as your conceptions of the guru are perfect, but you're trying to bring in that. And if you get into contact with that and in that energy and what a bunch of other people think, have really thought and worship perfect gurus and stuff, you can help eliminate a lot of the bull, like following a guru whose followers try to take over a town by poisoning all the members and things, the mayor and all the officials. So observe the guru's followers. Now, obviously, any guru is going to have some followers who just come up for a short time, or teacher, and then fall away, who's not going to be able to clear out all their bad habits and everything. And you always find some jerks and psychotics and lunatics in any big group gathering of that sort. But aside from that, you can learn from the actions of the close followers and things. And if their actions betray that type of thing, their actions betray an ego, regardless of who got the 90 some Rolls Royces for this guru, or who bought them, or who set it up, that's an utter aspect of vanity. Nothing else. Egoism and vanity, to an extreme. I mean, having a car ready to take you someplace when you go to your ashram, that's fine. Rolls Royces are status symbols, and that's their major deal. They aren't particularly heavy duty or built well for any particular purpose except for being status symbols. And that reeks of such ego. If you accept somebody like that as your guru, the results of that ego will be your own demise. Those things will get passed on to the worshipers. If the worshipers are truly guru worshiping, they're going to pick up on those qualities if that's the majority of what the guru presents. And that was the majority, that was the type of thing the followers of this guru did. There were probably 80% of the followers that were there were trying to be legitimate and follow the teachings of the guru, but his closest advisors and things were the ones that did all this. They're the ones that had the most exposure to him. And really, there are followers today who I'm sure will be greatly offended when they see this video. But facts are facts. What happened actually happened. It's not alternative facts. It's not something made up. I was here and saw it happening and watched it all on the news while it was going on. So, while I don't have personal experience with it because I lived in another county entirely, I got to see all the news reports and things, and I know all this stuff really happened. So you have to watch out for bad gurus. Judge them by their actions and the actions of their followers. It's that simple. And find out the truth. Don't let if you look up some stuff, for example, on Swami Chaitananda, there are some really ridiculous things that happened. And the Oregonian, I believe it was, decided to try and take an axe to him for quite some time. None of it was really legitimate. You can look it up and see what the newspaper said, and I would recommend doing that. Don't ignore those kinds of things, because while some of them are all made up and just bull by disgruntled followers, a lot of them are not, especially if they made the national news, US-wide news, things like that. Those are just factual. So be careful with your choices. But the idea is that it's not a bad thing if you guru worship properly. You're trying to bring positive forces into yourself. And do you have to guru worship? No. You can worship God. You can go various ways. The difference is you can worship the formless guru also, whose light resides in the third eye and has the appearance of a tapering flame. And this is like a primordial universal guru that can teach you. And won't have the normal human failings as such, as a physical guru. The only thing is that many people find it more difficult to worship a guru or God without a form. I do not consider God's form to be a giant man in the sky that, I consider God basically formless. That doesn't mean I won't worship an aspect of God with form. At the current moment, the one that appeals to me is Vishnu and Lakshmi. Ramayanara. No, that's not right. Narayana. Okay, sorry. The mantra is Narayana Ya, so getting them separate, but that's a version of God that I choose to worship at the moment, while realizing that the form is a limitation of God, but form is easier to work with. So, all that being said, guru worship is very worthwhile, but you need to be cautious about it and watch out. And you can always take the good from everything, which is what I try to do. Good teachings and things from everything, from books and things. a person doesn't have to be a genius or totally enlightened to say a couple enlightened things. And to me, I think what really determines if you find what you're looking for when you are looking for enlightenment, I think two things are important. That you look for the absolute truth, regardless of your feelings, emotions, and things. If you want to become enlightened, you should let's say if you're always on the search or on the look for the truth of such things, that is what you will find. And you can find the truth everywhere, but especially in things written by enlightened people. But you can take that enlightenment from all sorts of places and all sorts of normal, natural places. You need to be looking for it. That's the thing. You know, if you look for enlightenment and you happen to be digging through the Satanic Bible, well, I'm not a big fan of Anton LaVey, but you could get some kind of enlightenment out of there. So you find enlightenment if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for an ego boost and those kinds of things, and you read books of enlightenment, that's what you'll find. You can't really get enlightenment so much out of a book, though I'm going to back up on that a little bit. You can get Shaktipat to a certain extent from a book written by somebody who was enlightened with that type of energy. For example, the books of Swami Muktananda, Swami Chitanananda. There's a book about Swami Nityananda. I can't speak for others because those are the ones I have researched and believe have gone through enlightenment and the Kundalini process fully. Reached the true self, as I will put it. Sri Ramana Maharshi, to name another one. So enlightenment is where you find it. Even this guru who was in Oregon says a lot of valid things in the books and things. And due to the characters and things that I know about this individual, I don't put any faith that he experiences them or knows things, just that he can parrot them. And I personally would much rather have a guru that works from understanding and comprehending these matters on an internal level rather than just parroting them. But for the true seeker of wisdom, you can find wisdom there. But I would rather look for it in a better place. If you'll excuse the analogy, and I don't mean to be rude to followers of this guru, because I'm sure the followers of this guru start out with good intentions, and because that's what people are seeking for. And it's just a shame that the truth doesn't come out more often and more openly about some of the practices of some of the poor gurus. But the reality is, truth is where you find it. And if that's what you're looking for truth. You're not looking for ego gratification. You're not looking for stuff to support your mundane aspects of life, which is not a bad purpose for enlightenment, being able to handle the aspects of life, because enlightenment gives you both an anchor so that you aren't knocked over so easily, and it also gives you a lightness, a freedom to see an overview where you're not so bothered by all the things of this world because you get more of a universal overview that is outside the tunnel vision of your mundane life and having to deal with reality. And you have a firmer foundation, which isn't as easily rocked, and you have an overview which allows you to dismiss some of these things as ultimately not so important, especially if you're a believer in past lives and things, because you realize that these things will be gone after this life is gone, so they can only bother you in this life. And it can help you to leave the things of this life behind that are bad. For example, my childhood, all of my dealings with my family, and mostly all of my friends and everything were bad. Bad neighborhood, bad people. You know, my dad was okay. My mother was a bad person in general, and so were all my friends. And yeah. So helping you to get those things as a child can warp you severely. And so having an overview and then a firm anchor, which is that aspect, the overview and the firm anchor, I perceive as being aspects of balancing the air for the overview and the earth for the solidity and the anchor. Of course, then you have to have the fire, you have no motion, and so on and so forth. But so I think that's about all I wanted to say about this. Guru worship properly done can be a great boon to the progress of an individual. Improperly done, it could be a great hindrance. And if anybody wants to find out specific methods, there are a lot of them. Here's a little book that was published by the Nityananda Institute in Portland, which might actually be a regular paperback by now, I don't know. I got this at the Institute at the time, and it consists of some large portions of photocopied stuff, and this one isn't an issue for publishing, but the information's out there, and if there's more of an interest in the subject, you guys can let me know, and if there's more of an interest in the subject, I'll do follow-up videos. Otherwise, I plan on trying to get in some videos on what enlightenment is, what it means, why bother, why you might want to become enlightened, and then eventually how to do so, or attempt to do so. And this all goes along with Barden's work, of course, which is also leads to enlightenment. But I investigate so many other paths. I want to get some of the other interesting methods and aspects in there, especially some concentration aspects and things for people who have difficulty with Barden's first chapter, because there's a lot he doesn't explain about concentration. He more or less tells you to do it, which I guess is the most important part. Anyway, all right, I guess that's it for now. Blessed be.